I could have.
I can't do nothing with you. 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 I can't do nothing with ya. I can't do nothing with ya. I can't do nothing with ya. I can't do nothing with ya.
Alright guys, hope you enjoyed that time lapse. Welcome to today's airport CEO build. Today we went with a linear model. So with a linear terminal, it's basically you have one big terminal that is all connected into basically one concourse instead of having like piers or multi-terminals or satellite terminals, which we will build in kind of future episodes. But this is basically a very basic model. It's a little bit of a step up from a simple terminal, where basically you just have one building and then everything's contained in that one building, and it's basically square. So it's basically if we took this foundation only and built the whole terminal out of that. But with the linear, we kind of expanded it a little bit. So we'll start out with our parking area. So we created a little bit of a parking area here. We have 5 lots. All of them are set to short-term parking for now, but they could be turned to long-term in the future. They are all easily accessible by sidewalks that go in between and then up into the terminal concourse area. So the good thing about these parking lots is that they're all walkable, so that the citizens can walk through the parking lots up to the sidewalks and then into the terminal. Which leads us to the terminal. Starting with our 2 little baggage claims. We only have 2 baggage bays, so 2 baggage claims. 1 claim per bay is the ratio. We even built the bathroom in the center. It's not detailed just yet. That's going to kind of come in the future. But we do have 2 check-in areas. We have our right side check-in areas, which service these 7 gates. And then we also have the left side, which services these 7 gates. Yes, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so 7 gates. They're all medium so that they could all accommodate baggage, even with our small stands, which I don't even think have operated yet because our 2 airlines are both medium and large. They're not small, so we'll fix that, but they basically are there. And we also need to make a small de-icing pad as well. But then once you check in, we have our security area. We used 4 large security slots to get as many people through as possible. With a high density airport like this, with, I think we have 10 medium stands, and each medium stand holds about 60 people. So that's about 600 passengers at the maximum that are going to be in the airport at one time. And I believe the processing speed of these ones is a lot quicker than like a small or a medium checkpoint. So we just went with the large checkpoints to ease that. We even have these walkolators, which are past security, and they basically bring people from the security checkpoint to the small gates, because it is quite a walk from here to here. It's like 4 gates long, which can get a little bit tiring. So we got the walkolators. We also have a bathroom at this side. Again, not detailed because passengers won't even be in this area, so not too detailed. But then we have the escalators that go up. And upstairs, on this side of the terminal is where everything happens. We have our medium stands that go all the way down here. All of them have seating in front of them with 2 bathrooms. I guess 4 if you count male and female separately, so 2 male, 2 female bathrooms. Then we also have seating in front of every gate, in front of the windows, because people look at them. It's just a given. And then each desk is a manned boarding gate, just to kind of come up with that realism. Not too many gates are automated, especially in Canada where I'm from. So having a manned boarding gate's a little bit more realistic. We even have a small restaurant. It is kind of like a small cafe type style, kind of like a Tim Hortons or a Dunkin' Donuts that you can see in a large international airport. Kind of cafe style, a pick up and go. You can sit in the cafe, or you can bring it to where your gate is. You can take it wherever. It's simple. It gets people fed, gets their hunger taken care of, and that's it. In the future, we will be adding a shop. I'm still debating whether to put it in the middle here between the escalators or to kind of diversify it down here. Just I want to make sure that it's in a high traffic area, but I don't want to keep it to one side or the other. The only reason why I put this one here is because these 3 gates, or I guess these 4 gates, were the quickest to fill. So, I mean, they're used the most often, so it kind of made sense that would be the most high traffic area. So that's basically our passenger areas. Now let's move to our landside vehicle or landside staff areas. So on the bottom here we have all of our service vehicle parking lots and depots are here. So we got one in-store depot which houses the majority of our fuel and de-icing trucks. Then we also have some outdoor service parking lots as well. Built way too many, which isn't a bad thing. It's just basically thinking for future expansion. And we even have our fueling depots here. So it's a 200,000 liter tank, followed by three 40,000 liter tanks. So in total, we have 320,000 liters of jet fuel and 320,000 liters of avgas. Also got our de-icing depot, which leads to our de-icing pads, which we'll get to in a minute. And then we have our baggage base and our security area and our baggage area. So I only found this out recently, but they're all the baggage is supposed to be kind of like interconnected with each other. So a bag will come off, go through a tier 1 scanner. It gets denied. So then it's put through all the tier 2 scanners. So it got denied at the second tier 2 scanner. So now it goes to the tier 3 scanner. And then this one's actually manned by a security guard, and then they give it an okay. It's okay to be loaded onto the aircraft. But basically, tier 1, if it fails tier 1, it goes through all the tier 2s. If it passes, great. But if it fails, it goes through the tier 3. If it passes, great, it goes onto the plane. But if it fails, it actually goes into the baggage destroyer. I only found that out recently, and apparently it has a very positive effect on your security rating if you do that. So, I mean, it's a great mechanic to know, and we also mimicked that on the other side tier 2. So same type of idea for both of them, and it's good to make a template of that. So I have it saved here in the templates, so anytime that I build any airport, I can just pick up the template, put it there instead of placing everyone individually. But then all the bags get put into our baggage bay, and then our baggage bay is what brings them out to the aircraft. So we'll go towards our stands here. We got a nice 767-200 taxiing in, which is cool. So we have our stands. So we currently have 10 medium stands that span from basically one side of the terminal almost to the very other side. And then we have 4 small stands. And the small stands are all commercial stands, no GA stands. We actually have no GA at this airport at the moment, but in the future it will come. I did make the taxiways one way, so our direction of flight is this way from left to right. So we have our first runway, which is our landing runway, and our second runway, which is our takeoff runway. So an aircraft will land, will taxi down here. This is a one-way, so any aircraft that come down here have to exit the same way. They can't go back the other way. So they will come down here, come to their gate, say they're in gate 2, come to gate 2, then they push, and then they can go back this way. For gates 1, 2, 3, and 4, they all have to use a single de-icing pad, but then gates 5 to 14 can use these 2. And we'll build the small ones as well too. But and then we also have 3 de-icing pads, like I said, and we have 3 maintenance hangars as well. They're all open to all airlines, just in case any aircraft breaks. We currently do not have our airport fire services or airport policing services up and running. That will come in the future, but for now, this is the basics of a terminal, the basics of a linear terminal, I should say. So a linear terminal, like I said, just to recap, is one single terminal building that has a large footprint, or a large footprint on the side of that goes from left to right. It is a step up from a simple terminal, like I said, because simple terminal, as I was saying before, is basically just one big terminal building. So if that whole red section was our main terminal building and that's it, that would be a simple terminal. But with our linear terminal, we kind of expanded it a little bit, and everything is in a line. Line, linear, makes sense. I'll try to decide what we want to do next. I'm hoping to do maybe a pier terminal or a satellite terminal design, just kind of change it up a little bit. If you want to know an example of a pier terminal, the best example is Toronto Pearson. Toronto Pearson is two basic terminals, and both of them have piers associated to them. So pier terminal would be something like Toronto Pearson, San Francisco, even something like Dallas Love Field. For a linear terminal, you're kind of looking more. Dallas Love Field's kind of a linear terminal because it has one single concourse that kind of branches off into separate directions. Kind of looks like a tree branch in a way. The old Toronto Pearson, the old Terminal 2 at Toronto Pearson is a good example of a linear terminal. And then even places like Moncton. Moncton, New Brunswick is kind of more of a simple terminal, but if it were to expand on the left or the right, that would become a linear terminal. Even Halifax, Nova Scotia is also another great example of a linear terminal. It's not in one straight line, but is all one single concourse. So you could kind of classify that as a linear terminal. Again, let me know what you want to see next, and we will see you next time.